Okay, three, two, one, go. Hello, and welcome to Bandy, a podcast about being flexible and all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your deserted, companionless hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other deserted and companionless host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
Prepare to be sad, everyone. You're welcome.
I I'm definitely scraping. Like I mean, I already started to scrape the bottom of the barrel in terms of my the words I'm choosing here, but it's fine. It's fine.
Deserted island.
Right?
All right. So I just want to start this off with a happy
Yeah.
fun thing. So by the time this episode comes out, you will be here
Mm-hmm. True.
in person
So true.
in the real world.
The flesh.
In the flesh. So that's exciting and that's happening. I went to my first concert since 2020.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I know what it
And
was.
I know I went and I took my daughter to see Pink for her 10th birthday.
How was it?
It was so fucking good,
I'll bet.
Andy. Oh my God. So what I didn't know was that Cheryl Crow was opening for her.
Whoa.
So,
Nice.
and I forgot how many songs of hers are really good.
Yeah, it's true.
And I was just like, oh yeah, I know like, the one song that everyone knows, which is like Soak Up the Sun or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Something
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
sun. But it's like every song I was like, I know the words to this. I know the words to this one too. So apparently I was more of a Sheryl Crow fan than I knew. And Harpo was like, I'd like to listen to her music more at
Yeah.
home. So now they're in the pool listening to Sheryl Crow, which I don't think
Love
is a
it.
bad thing, but her like Pink is so fucking good at what she does.
Yeah.
And like it was phenomenal. There were fireworks. She flew around everywhere and like did all of her aerial stuff. We were like, I don't know if I have a cough because I was screaming so loud and like someone else's mucus got in my mouth or what, but like it was just, and we're like, Mike got good tickets. We were in the ninth row.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice, nice.
So it was really good. It was an outdoor stadium. So it was just like, it's nice being outside and we got all dressed up and wore all of our sparkles and glitter. I'll send you a picture.
Amazing.
Um, and then that night, like we stayed in a hotel. So like, and we didn't, we like, Harper was great. We got there at around like 6, and then around 10:30, she was like, there's so much vibration. Can we go home? And I was like, sure,
Yeah.
no problem. Let's go. So we walked out, but where our hotel room was, we could still see and hear. So we opened the windows and we got in our jammies and like just sat by the window and like things screamed out the window. And like it was really sweet. It was really sweet. We had a really good time. So
It's just nice to love it. It's so
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. I did
Uh,
like in terms of like, do you know what golden birthdays are?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this is like new to me, kind of like Elf on the Shelf, which I don't subscribe to.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it's the day you were born, and like when you turn that age,
Mm-hmm.
that's like your golden birthday. So she was born on the 10th and she turned 10. So that was like her big golden birthday.
Okay, interesting.
So what day were you born?
26th.
Okay, well, you've already missed the window on that, but I know. So you can celebrate anyway,
True.
I guess. But it's like for kids now, it's like, or anyone, the world, it's like a big deal. So I
Interesting. I
missed
had
the
no
win.
idea.
I was also born on the 10th, so I missed it. But she was like, it's
Okay.
my golden birthday. And I was like, well, I gotta fucking do this shit right. And I did. I rocked
Hell
it
yeah.
so fucking hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. I'm
So
glad that sounds
yeah.
right. Yeah. I think Pink is somebody like um and I definitely like have enjoyed some of Pink stuff back in the day, but I feel like she'd be somebody who would be a very entertaining live sort of performer.
You don't even need to know her
Yeah.
music because she's so good at performing.
Yeah. All bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
was really what was interesting too. It's like everyone was dressed up and like everyone was wearing pink clothes and like dressed
Amazing.
absolutely fantastic. But I noticed there were a lot of like mothers and daughters, but
Hmm.
like mothers in their 60s and daughters in their 40s.
That kind of makes sense. I mean, because like, she has been about for like such a long time
Yeah,
now, so it kind of
yeah,
makes sense that she would, yeah.
yeah. So it was really sweet. And I hadn't been to a show since I guess part of it was like me getting over going to a concert because I don't know if that's where I got contracted COVID
Hmm.
in 2020 at the Rod Stewart concert in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
So I've just been like really hesitant to do anything like that. And it was, yeah, it was great. It was perfect.
That rocks. I love it. So I
I
uh
didn't ask. No one cares.
wow, holy shit.
What's the crack with you, my friend?
Unbelievable. I know. I'm not telling now. I don't want to say anything. I'm just gonna sit here with my arms folded for the rest of this
Okay.
podcast. Only joking. Um, I
Andy walks out.
yeah, I know. God, I'm done. I'm gonna put a dog on instead, which is probably more entertainment. That's like Beth and a dog doing the podcast. Anyway, so I do actually have two dogs staying with me at the minute. That is not the crack though.
Oh,
So two things. Choir started back up
oh,
properly last week, which is great. And really lovely to see. We have like a load of new faces, but like sometimes, I mean, like based on the two terms that we've had, the first sort of day there is can be odd at times, like in terms of like you're not too sure how many people are going to stay, how many people are engaged, but like all the folks that came along, the newbies were keen to keep coming back. Sometimes they just come for a taster, see if it's their vibe. But they were all excited to come back for more. So I think we're already starting strong this year. We had, I think, 52, 53 people, which is amazing for the first night. So it was a really strong start. So it was lovely to see and just lovely to hear everybody singing together again. Like I mean, figuring out new songs and stuff, but it's always lovely.
it's such
Uh,
a good group of people.
it is.
I feel lucky that I got to sit on
Yeah.
a rehearsal.
It was really nice I was really nice that you were able to be there for it. And like and you got it at a really good time because it was close to the end and they were really good at the songs
They
there.
were, they
Yeah.
were.
They had them all locked down at that point. Um So the other thing that I really enjoyed was I went to see Speak No Evil. I also went to see
Ooh.
Beetlejuice, but I want to talk
Mhm.
about Speak No Evil. Um, I James McAvoy is such an effective like sociopath. Like he is so
I
good.
heard it's like a comedy scary movie.
I don't know if
No?
it's comedy. It's
Or like the way he acts, you're kind of like, aha.
like
No.
kind of like he like I think
I
there is
love
this.
me some, yeah, I love
If
me
you
some
like
James
McAvoy,
McAvoy. I
like, and
do,
it's
I
it's
do.
proper, it's proper like Hulk McAvoy. He is massive in this, and
I wish
he,
he got more like I don't know what his I wish he was in more stuff.
yeah, you'll love him in this. He's so good in it
Okay.
because it's all him. It's the McAvoy show, and he's amazing in it. And but I really enjoyed it. Like it was just a really kind of tense thriller. I don't see many movies in the cinema these days that are like that. I mean, so it
Mhm.
was really quite refreshing, and like it was a bit pulpy and a bit slocky, but it was good fun. So I very much enjoyed that.
Can
Beetlejuice,
can I
Beetlejuice. Sorry.
I just before you move on, one movie that I've had that feeling with
Hmm.
is A River Runs Through It. Because the
Uh-huh.
whole time I'm just like, that hot Brad Pitt, he's gonna die. Like at some point,
Oh
this is where the
yeah.
story's gonna go. And so the whole time I'm just
Hmm.
waiting for him to die, and then he died. And I was like, okay. So that's not how most people saw that movie, but for me, it was like so tense.
A lot, yeah, yeah, amazing.
Okay, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Um, yeah, it's that movie. Like lots of fun ideas in it, and there's some incredible moments of inspiration and like just really kind of weird, interesting choices. But it is the script is catastrophic. To be perfectly honest, it's an
I've
absolute
heard that.
disaster. Like there are so many things built up that go nowhere, and like the thing is that some of them are fun ideas. They just do nothing with them, and they're like, why is this in the movie? Like if they had taken several of those plot lines out, they would have had a much more a tighter sort of movie. But still a lot of fun stuff in it. Still amazing to see Michael Keaton back as Beetlejuice. So like not a disaster by any stretch of the imagination. Just it seems like it could have been a lot better had they made some kind of hard editing choices.
I don't understand what happens either in the script room or the editing room. It's like there's so much energy and I think I know I bitch about this all the time, but there's so much energy and money that goes into this and people at like the top of their game that
Yeah.
are placed in these positions to make the money and it's like it's almost like they get lazy
Yes.
because they know that like the original was so good that so many people are going to come
Uh, like
and they spend all of their money on like promotion and making it look like the promotion machine is insanely good right now.
yeah.
Like I remember with the Barbie movie, them like renting it, building a Barbie house, an actual Barbie house that you could like rent through Airbnb, and then like Ken took over for the day, and that was
Yeah.
the whole thing. And so it's like they've got it with promotion, they've got it with nostalgia cash grab, they've got
Hmm.
it, with like picking which movie to like either remake or make a second one. But it's just like write a good fucking script
Yeah. Absolutely.
or edit it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Uh,
Sorry,
and like
apparently I feel feelings about this.
but like I mean, yeah, I suppose like any sort of movie with a certain amount of budget is going to have so many fingers,
Amount of
trying
what?
to any like any picture with like a big enough budget, any movie with a
Oh,
big enough budget is
yeah.
going to have so many people who have to
Yes,
have say
yes.
in what goes in there, and like various things. And I am not detracting from her talent, but Monica Bellucci is clearly in it because she's dating Tim Burton, right? Because like
Uh-huh.
and like I have she's a fine actress and she's been great in other stuff, but she just is given nothing to do here. And it's like, what is the point? And why are we spending time with this character who really doesn't move the plot at all? Isn't really doesn't have anything fun to do. It's just a shame. But
You just should have cast Helena Bonham Carter.
art, yeah, yeah. Woo.
Sorry.
But like, again, there's enough fun, weird choices and like weird scenes that make it worthwhile, but it's just a wee
Hmm.
bit of a disappointment. But yeah.
Who's the dude that's in the leftovers that's in it?
Oh, through Justin Through.
Jason.
Justin
I love
Through.
him. I
Yeah, he's great.
love him.
He's good
I
in
love
it.
him.
He is good in it.
He's
I
good in
like.
everything.
Yes.
He's actually so I'm just blabbing because I don't want to talk about our topic. So I'm true. I'm avoiding. I'm avoiding the loneliness. But I
Mhm.
know, but so I just started The Leftovers because again, I'm behind,
Yeah,
I'm like 4 or 5 years behind in all things. Um, he's so good in that.
he is.
And then I remember him in Your Highness playing
Yeah.
the evil wizard, and I'm just like, I can't reconcile.
And he also
Like
wrote,
he writes too.
yeah, he
Yeah.
wrote Tropic Thunder. He wrote Tropic Thunder. He was one of the writers of Tropic
There, no, he
Thunder.
was okay. So fill some time real quick. I'm gonna
Mhm.
Wikipedia him real
Okay,
quick.
so I have only seen one season of The Leftovers so far, the first season, of course, and I enjoyed it, and I'm told that it
Okay.
is not the best season. I'm told it gets much, much better, so I
That's
need
what
to
I've
go
heard.
back.
Like I've heard season two is supposed to be even better.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, I think I just no, I want to see writer. Okay,
Hmm.
Zoolander,
Hmm.
Iron Man 2,
Yeah. Mm.
and then yeah, Tropic Thunder. But I didn't know that he wrote Iron Man 2, which was a good one.
So he's actually like and I only found out with this connection. There's a documentarian called Louis Theroux.
Yeah. He's like
They're
related to
cousins.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like
Paul
every
Theroux, the
single
travel writer.
person. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. There's tons. Like there's
And
that
then
family.
the guy that wrote what was it? The Mosquito Coast?
Yes, that's Paul Theroux.
Paul
That's
Theroux.
Louis
Okay.
Theroux's
And so
father and his
I
uncle. Yeah,
yes, so I
and
think
he's
he's
starring in
also
Mosquito
yes,
Coast. Yes.
exactly. Yes.
Hmm. I
Which
know.
was originally a Harrison Ford movie.
Yes, it was. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
haven't seen it. So that's not, so okay. Last episode we were talking about how like I get obsessed with things and then
Hmm.
like fire hose it for a while.
Yeah,
For me, it's Justin
I love it.
through.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I'm on The
Oh,
Leftovers. I'm gonna Mosquito Coast it. I'm Your Highnessing it and all the things.
over. lockdown, Louis Theroux did a podcast. I don't know if he's
Mhm.
still doing it, but one of the episodes was him and Justin talking, and it's amazing because they have
Okay.
this pre-established relationship and like talking about their history where like all their families got together and like him immediately coming in and teasing Justin Theroux about ripping the t-shirts or the sleeves off all of his t-shirts and stuff. It's really fun stuff. You'll love it.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah. So before we completely get on to our topic, then, do you have any what's occurring?
No. Well,
I
actually, no, I don't.
Okay, I have an Andy's down with the streets kind of, but I think this is something that is doesn't need explaining, but it also leads me to something else I've been considering. So do you know what a fuckboy is?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. I think everybody does now. It's one of these terms that is only like relatively young. I think it's like less than 10 years old in the terms of like slang, but it's like a guy who kind of fucks people around. Um,
Yeah, like basically like they just want to have sex
yeah,
and they'll by any means uh using narcissism and breadcrumbing and gaslighting is possible.
absolutely. And I think in a conversation recently, and so I didn't think that was one that would need to be explained, but I was having a conversation with somebody about it recently, and we come up with an idea. I don't know, maybe a spin-off podcast that we could do, which would be called the Fuck Boys of History, which is just highlighting
Ooh.
fuck boys throughout the ages, and there are a
Ooh.
lot of them. There's a generous supply of fuckboys throughout history that you could talk about, and just how and why they are fuckboys. So just something to think about,
I'm getting out my big marker.
right? Fuckboys
The
history.
big This one is Expo, it doesn't smell. Ah!
Yeah. So yeah. And like I mean, I think there have definitely been lenses put in a lot of these guys in the past, but specifically through that lens,
Hmm.
could be interesting. Could be
Hmm.
interesting.
Okay, so I'm gonna shock the world right now.
Uh-huh.
There's a new segment on our show.
Ooh.
It's called Beth is also down with the streets.
Oh, whoa.
Are you okay with me taking
I don't, it makes no
taking
sense to
your
me that you're
coattails?
also down with the streets, but okay.
Okay, I'm down with different streets.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay, okay. Are you ready?
Sure.
Chugi.
Chugi, I have heard Chugi before, but
I
I
just
don't
heard
know.
Chugi.
I don't know that I could put my finger on what it means.
Do you want to guess?
Isn't it like, is it like crusty? Like if somebody was a bit gross and like hippie almost would be Chugi? Am I
No.
close? Fuck.
No, you're so incorrect. No,
Shit.
it's more like people who are it's you spell it Cheugy, but you like pronounce it Chugi, and
Okay.
it means like someone who's out of date or is trying too hard.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm reading a book right now, and she keeps referring to like Chugi boss bitches. And I'm like,
I
what does that mean? What does Chugi mean? So I had to Google it, and now you know.
like it. Okay. It's a good
Chugi
one.
boss bitches are apparently out.
I mean, like, yeah, fuck those guys. They sound like basic bitches.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah, okay.
All
I love it. Okay. I like it. That's a good one. Yeah, I,
right,
I I
so
have definitely heard that before, but I did not know the meaning of it. Awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're coming to America, so you got to know these things.
That's true. That's true. No, but as you know, I'm just gonna really play the Irish up when I'm out there, so I'm not gonna be using any American terms.
No,
I'm just going to be
no,
saying like Begorra a lot and top of the morning to you whenever I see people and things like
perfect.
that.
They're gonna say it back. They're gonna be like, "Oh,
They
you're from
are.
Ireland.
Oh
Top
my
of the morning
God.
to you." Yeah,
Oh, is that how you say it
yeah.
over there? It's so cute.
Uh-huh.
Etc. Etc. I love it. Look, I am glad. I'm glad we're having a good time now, Beth, because
I know.
I think this is a good like we will this is not going to be all
We're
misery.
not
We're
gonna
going
be
to have a
chuggy
nice
about this.
time. We're not going to be tricky about it. We're going to have a nice time with this topic, I think, because it is a topic that affects all of us, I think, in some ways or another, and that is loneliness. Are we? I think
Um,
I'm thinking about calling this episode just so lonely. So lonely. Or is that too much?
I think loneliness.
Loneliness is fine. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we're just gonna talk about loneliness. It's something that affects us all. And I think it's an interesting one because I think that the kind of standard definition of loneliness is kind of out of date a little bit and not super relevant. So I think there's a lot for us to kind of get our teeth into here.
I agree. I was having a hard, like, as I was working through this, I was having a hard time differentiating between depression and loneliness
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times it's hard to separate them.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I just didn't.
Yeah. I think it all is tied in, you know.
Right.
Mhm.
And, maximum effort over here. So,
Absolutely. In terms of torturing ourselves.
right, right.
I love it. Yeah.
So, yeah, are you lonely often?
Yes. Frequently, I would say. I think that and I think that this is a concept that's hard to get over to some people, and I am very happy that they find this hard to understand, but like I am, somebody who can feel lonely in a room full of people, sort of
I
thing,
wrote I wrote that down. I wrote that down.
And like I have had friends when I've been like, I'm really lonely, and they're like, what do you mean? You've got so many friends. And I'm like, yes, but you know that does not, those things don't necessarily like overlap. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It fills me up spending time with people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it does my heart good. I am a better version of myself when I'm with people, especially with people I am close with and have a probably better understanding of my like internal shit, but it definitely is something that is persistent for me.
Hmm. It's interesting, I think, because I have small children
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm never alone,
Yeah,
like ever, like
true.
even in the bathroom, like literally, I'm never alone unless they're in
Hey,
school.
yeah,
And and my husband works from home, and so when he's like on breaks, he wants to come out and like chit chat and catch up, and like
yeah,
sometimes I'm just like, everyone just like leave me alone, kind of
yeah,
like I don't have my like, the kids have their own rooms, my husband has his own office, I don't have my own room, like we share a bedroom, so I don't
yeah,
have my own space, and the only space I do have is the sunroom, which is not temperature controlled, and it's got glass on all sides, so everyone knows I'm in there. So
too
it's not
true.
like I can hide.
Yeah,
And the bathroom is like, it's like with children, it's like a magnet,
yeah,
or it's like they've got this sensor that turns on, and they're like, oh, mom's in the bathroom, because they'll be watching a TV show, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go take a shit, and then like I try, and then I hear like knock knock knock,
hey,
mommy, I'm like, yes,
yeah,
I'm pooping, like what, like whatever. So all that said, I'm less lonely than I used to be.
uh-huh,
um I used to not like being alone, and it was when I was single and living alone, that was really a hard time for
yeah,
me. I would fill my calendar to like the extreme side
yeah,
of overdoing it.
yeah,
Um yeah, and I also don't like it when other people are alone or are lonely. And I remember even being a kid and being like, like my mom and my sister and I were all going to go do something, but my dad was going to be by himself. And I was like, no, like I'll stay with you because you'll be alone.
yeah,
And like that was like the worst thing in the world to me. And so that sort of like carried over from childhood, probably.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I like that one. Yeah, like it's one of the differentiations, like when I was thinking about this was um I think I quite like doing things by myself, but I don't
mm,
think I like being alone. So like two things that I quite like. or I quite like going to the movies by myself because I mean, like with the movies, I'm like, I don't need, I mean, like I do go with people a decent amount of the time, but like
Yeah. It's kind of
every
a waste of like it,
a social
it's a
event,
way, yeah, that's why. It's like Mike and I never go on a date to the movies because
no,
I'm like the whole point is to hang out and
yeah.
chit chat and like catch up and not sit next to each other in silence.
And and what I like about that is I like that I am, consumed by this. Look, I'm in it. My phone's off. I'm
Hmm.
just watching a
Hmm.
movie. This is what I'm doing for the 2 hours. No distractions, but like, I'm still surrounded by people. There's still
Yeah.
people everywhere. I think that yoga can be quite nice for that as well.
Yes.
It's why I like attending classes because I still have the energy of people being around me, but I don't necessarily have to like interact with them and stuff like that. As time has went on with the studios that I go to, or the studio that I go to predominantly, I uh there are more people that talk to me, and it's a mixed bag. I like it most of the time, but some days I just go in and I'm like, I don't want to fucking have a conversation with anybody particularly. I'm just not in the headspace for it. And you have to be
Hmm.
like, grit your teeth and just be like, yeah, yeah, okay, uh-huh. Tell me more about your holiday.
It's interesting. Well, I don't have a yoga studio here
Hmm.
because we don't have a yoga studio here. It's like if I want one, I have to start it basically. Um, but like in the States, most classes I would go to when that was a thing and it was available, like it's not a chit chat kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and maybe it's like small town versus America,
Hmm.
small town Northern Ireland versus America, but like um you go in and you stretch and you close your eyes and you meditate and like no one bothers you kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like that always, which is weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's but I think yeah, I think that's what I maybe need to just, when I get over there, start a yoga
Basically.
studio. I was gonna say
Yeah.
class, but let's just
Yeah.
go for studio all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I I think that like it's an interesting one, and I think one of the questions I had asked myself whenever I was thinking about this was, do you ever do you like find loneliness? Not I was gonna say do you like loneliness, but I think that's a poor choice of words. Do you find it appealing space to spend some time in sometimes? Maybe not always for the best reasons.
I wrote something similar. I said, "Do you find safety in your loneliness?"
Yes,
And
that's a
I
good.
said, "Sometimes I do."
Me too.
Um, I think because of my disabilities and the depression that they create,
Yeah,
um, like if I'm having an off day, the ability to crawl into bed and be in my warm space,
yeah,
um, like I'm okay with it, I guess.
yeah,
Where I think it used to really bother me, but now it's just like it's just part of my it's almost like I'm letting it be part of my natural rhythm instead of fighting it.
yes. I like that. That's a good way of looking at it.
Ugh, it's taken me 4.5 years of therapy to get there, Andy.
Yeah. I am quite sure, but I think that is, I'm glad that you were able to get there because I'd say a lot of people handle it poorly. I would say loneliness and like use it to, fill those gaps with things that aren't necessarily healthy for both them and the people that they are using to fill those gaps,
Hmm.
whatever shape that may take.
Hmm.
So I think that's a healthier way of approaching it. Because like as I was saying at the start of this episode or when we were first talking about it was that like I really do think it affects everyone. I think that it's good to like have an honesty about that and like look at it and kind of like take that at face value. And kind of, acknowledge maybe how it affects you, things that you can do to help with that. Because like I think largely loneliness like leads to negative thought patterns. um
Absolutely.
so like
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, and I would say that's probably pretty universal, would be my guess, at least anyway. Um, but I just don't think that, like, it's one of these other, one of these sort of things that I feel like sometimes gets lumped in with, like, if you feel lonely, it's a weakness. I certainly talk about this from a male point of view, whereas anything like that that's fear-based or not, if it is even
Mhm.
fear-based, is a weakness. But I think that accepting that it is something that's going to happen to all of us and taking that head on is a healthier way to process it. Even
Yeah. And I
even
I think go ahead.
no, I say even if it sucks sometimes. I was gonna
It
say
does, and it does, and I'm not trying to say it doesn't suck. There's so much suck
yes,
to
I hear you.
loneliness. And like I've, I've, we've talked about like, how, I was bedridden for 2 years.
Yeah,
And that amount of loneliness was more than I needed. Um, and I think we don't, it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like there's some sort of like collective amnesia that's happened around the pandemic.
yeah, well, absolutely true.
Like
So
we
so
were
true.
all stuck and like lonely and sad and striving, there were people that didn't have anyone around them and didn't have a roommate,
Yeah,
and like you were stuck in a different country and weren't allowed out of your room, and that, like
yeah,
we've not just collective loneliness but collective trauma around the loneliness.
so true.
And so I think about that a lot, like how that how loneliness affected us 5 years ago as opposed to how loneliness affected us 4 years ago.
Yeah,
And I think those are two very different things.
that is
And I
true.
and I think for me, I had to face it
Yeah.
um in a really real way. And I didn't I don't know if I befriended it necessarily, but I accepted that it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, and that's good. Um, I think that is that's yeah. I think that's the only kind of way, or the only way you can approach it, really, or the best way, certainly. Yeah, yeah.
Like, did the pandemic change loneliness for you?
Um, yes. Like that's also intertwined with odd things because like it was a
Yeah,
um the Peru thing. Like I was already in a weird mental place before I went to that
you
on that
were.
Peru trip, and then like that I was looking for that the release I get from travel or that kind of reset I get from travel in that trip, and then it was the exact opposite of that. It threw me into like a deeper, darker place, which was not good. Um, so like then coming back from that, going into a job I wasn't particularly enjoying, having to do that remotely, and the extra pressure that came from that due to the nature of my job, where I was having to still go into the office a lot and like expose myself to shit for a job that I didn't particularly respect and things like that. It was just a bad time for me generally. I definitely struggled with that. I definitely struggled with work from home. I was very lucky to have friends who didn't skirt the rules, but like thought about interesting ways to deal with the rules. So I've talked before about my friend putting together a hiking group,
Mhm.
because we were allowed to hike with it, depending on the nature of the lockdown at the time, you're allowed to hike with people. And that helped massively and really kind of got me out of like a funk in a big way. Um, but I think that like it's so tough because like it is also tied into like my mental health journey over the past 5 6 years. Like it was exactly when I was like dealing with stuff. I was um um you know starting to do this thing head on for the first time in my life. So it's weird. It's hard to get a grip on exactly how that changed loneliness specifically for me at the time, just because everything was in flux then, you know.
Do you think it did?
Yeah, I think that like it was, I don't know. I I understand the shape of it better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like, I think that was one of the things that I and I like and so many things. And like we said, you know, how can we talk about this without talking about depression? But like and I definitely understand the shape of my depression a bit better as well. And like for better for worse allows me to like handle it a bit better, or at least have coping strategies that can, you know, sometimes work, at least anyway.
Mhm. Do you think that, can I ask you a personal question?
Absolutely.
Do you think that like you were going through some definite like big like life shifts
Hmm.
around that time? Do you think that the pandemic stunted you in any way or made things like more difficult in how you relate to people through loneliness?
That's a good question. Don't I don't know. I would have to think about that. I think that you know, it probably gave me a greater awareness of that larger sense of loneliness that goes throughout like everybody. And it was interesting seeing how people who I would have thought of as being quite strong, and like they still are strong, right? But like, you know, mentally strong, how they reacted to all of that. Do you know what I mean? And like that need
Mhm.
for like connection that like everybody has. And, you know, for better for worse, seeing that is good for somebody who feels like that's a big struggle for them, because like you're like, oh God, you know, even these really well put together people are having a hard time here. And it helps to know that everybody's struggling in a kind of, you know, fucked up way.
Yeah. Yeah. I for me like I don't know. I like the way that you framed that, and I think I'm going to change my opinion about how I feel about that
Okay.
because that really makes sense to me. Um, I think for me, like, mm, I think I have so much shit I need to deal with
Yeah.
that it's just like it was almost overwhelming
Hmm.
at times, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like, deal with the health, deal with the loneliness, deal with the fact that you can't do this, you can't parent, you can't. So it's like for me too, it's all wrapped up. But
Yeah.
like what I don't think about ever really is like, you know, seeing it in everyone else I knew that were also going through because I'm
Yeah.
so because it's all about me. Um,
But it is, and it is all about you, and it is all about all, you know, every individual person. And like, and I think that like, you know, the idea of like, yeah, selfishness or whatever is kind of overblown, in that it should be all about you for the most part. Do you know what I mean? Like it's you're all you've got to an extent. You
we're
know what I
like
mean?
we're yeah, was reading something the other day and someone's like, you should be like the star of your own
Yes.
life, because you are.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, but at the same time, you have co-stars. Um,
Yes.
so um, like, how do you know when you're lonely?
Um, I, you know, I think it is an idea of not being able to bridge that gap with other people. Like I think that it's like, and I've talked a lot about this with people. I really feel like language is such a poor is maybe too strong a word, but imperfect way of communicating like your internal landscape. it's certainly something I struggle with. It's like it's why I kind of love one of the reasons I love language so much is that why I like love learning new words that maybe have a specificity that like I haven't discovered before, but like then you use them and people are like, ooh, look at you with your fancy words. But like it's not why I do that. It's just me kind of seeking a better way to express things that are going on within me.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think it's that it is just that failure to like communicate or failure to like bridge a gap. And that can be for a variety of reasons, either external stuff or stuff that's going on within me at the time. Um, but yeah, it is that it's just that failure to bridge that gap with people, I think.
Mhm. It's an interesting way to put it. And it's good that you can recognize that that's where, at least for right now, that's where it's
Yeah,
manifesting,
yeah,
because it changes.
it does.
Um, I think for me, like when I recognize like, oh girl, like you're like I know when I'm depressed, it's when all I want to do is just be in bed.
Yeah,
Um, and it does bring comfort, but then I start feeling sad, feeling like, you know, oh, you're not responding to texts. Oh, you're not, reaching back out to people, or you're not reaching out to people. You haven't talked to this
yeah,
person. And then I'll start being like, okay, like attack the loneliness. Like tomorrow, I will, sometimes I'll have to make a list of the people, like text blank, text blank, text blank.
yeah,
So I will check that box
yeah.
and start that conversation going. Um, and that's kind of when I know, like, all right, you're you're there and you need to do something about it.
It's yeah, I think like I think I do the same. Or like what I do is whenever I have a bright spot, and they do sometimes happen, that's when I will be like, right, I'm gonna blitz all this shit. I'm gonna organize some stuff. I'm
Yes,
going to
yes,
reach out to
yes.
these people. I'm gonna do it all now. And then like in a few hours if I'm feeling like shit, it's out there and I kind of
Yep.
like either have to do it or I have at least reached out to that person and it is what it is.
I do the same thing.
Um, and then like, if like, a couple of days later I've like planned to meet people and I'm like in a mood, I'm like, God fucking damn it, what have you done? And I still like I like 99 times out of
2 days ago, Andy, what the fuck?
yeah, no fucking put me in this shit. I gotta go talk to people. And like 99 times out of 100 I go and I'm happy that I did. But
Yeah.
there are times whenever I'm particularly bad that I'm just like I can't deal with people at all. I just can't be around people. And that's I think the sad thing is that like I think probably in those moments, probably being around people is exactly what I do need, but I just can't get myself there.
Yeah. Um, do you does social media make you more lonely or less lonely?
What so much more lonely.
How come?
Because like, with social media, I know the logic of social media. I know that everything I'm seeing is a curated form of their life. But I can't help but like see other people in relationships and things like that and like not feel a twinge of sadness um and then leading to a spiral where I'm questioning my inability to get that, not necessarily like correct or helpful things, but like spiraling down that way. And also like I get twinges of, oh, why wasn't I invited to that thing a little bit sometimes.
I do too. I
I,
do
re-
too.
I've got to say, don't I don't really care anymore. I know that like I have a better attitude about that generally, which is I'm kind of like if I wanted to go to something, I know I could just like reach out to a friend and ask them to go, and they would like again the vast majority of the times go, yeah, of course, would love to have you along. Come on ahead. Um, so like I'm definitely better with that, but like that would be something that would really bother me before back in the day. But like yeah, so I've definitely managed to stop some of that. But yeah, those are the kind of various elements that particularly make me lonely.
Hmm. I would agree with that. And I think, I think, I think it's, I think during, I'm just going to keep talking about the pandemic because it was a
Yeah,
real thing that happened, and it
it's important.
kind of, it triggered something in me to face all this shit around loneliness. But like, I think I don't know. I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it makes me feel any less lonely. I do feel FOMO. I do
Hmm.
feel sometimes excluded. I've deleted my whole Facebook
Yeah.
because I just couldn't even deal. And then I built it back with like, the people that I actually know.
Yeah.
Um, and but it's still not uh it still doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah. I like I mean, the thing is that like it's kind of designed for that. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the point of it because like it's to make you feel like less than, so you will like buy stuff that's advertised to you and things like that. I mean, one of the things that that kind of blew my mind about um like advertising and things like that was the discovery in like, and it was maybe what 40, 50 years ago now, that like sad people buy more things, and that like how at that point we didn't all collectively agree, well, clearly we cannot do this. This is horrible. How can we not? We don't want to make people sad, but instead fucking really ramp that up, really make people feel like they are missing out on, you know, friendships, glossy hair, amazing products, things like that, that just, and like if you have these things, they will complete you and make you happy or make you feel less lonely. And like that
Yeah.
is like, all media is replete with stuff like that, and it's
Yeah.
really fucked up.
So I've been if for 3.5 weeks I haven't really had I've had you to talk to,
Yeah.
and I've made a couple of phone dates with friends, but we've just been really trying to keep COVID away from everybody
Hmm.
else. So I haven't been able to talk to Mike. I have, I'm just trying to parent the kids and get through each day. And I'm like not showering, feeling bad about myself,
Yeah.
wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row or more. Cause like, why the fuck not? Like, who
Yeah.
fucking cares? And like yesterday, I'm like, God, I feel really like, I feel lonely. I feel shitty about myself.
Hmm.
And I went on the internet and I got, you know, a makeup sample kit sent to me.
Hell yeah.
Gonna come once a month, and I'm gonna get some clothes sent to me once a month and start like looking fly and like wearing
Nice.
makeup. No, but it's like I did the thing that you're just talking about.
Yeah.
I did it yesterday,
I mean, it goes back
and
to our
I felt better.
absolutely. It goes back to our sales episode as well. Like we're like it's a fucking nightmare, but like we do you do get that fucking hit. You're like, yeah, fucking
I
right. This is what I
totally, I
needed.
totally, I did. And I was like, I know I need this and I'm just gonna fucking do it, even
Yeah,
if it's for like a month. And then I'm gonna,
it's
you
a
know,
yeah, it's a grim time. It's a grim fucking reality we live in for
it really
some
is.
reasons. Like like they talk about like the worst possible timeline, and people are like, "Art, is it possible we're in the worst possible timeline?" Um,
It's always the worst possible
It
timeline.
is. I think it's an achievement if I come away from like if I go into Instagram and I don't come away if I come away feeling neutral, I'm like, I was a pretty good wee Instagram run. Rather than um going away feeling actively fucking depressed. It's what I find so refreshing is I have friends who have had like, wee bits and pieces of Instagram drama here, so I hear all the ins and outs of it, and I'm like, shit, this is great. This is great to hear that everybody's as insane about this fucking
Yeah,
product as I am, Um, and like, but like I do see the utility of something like Instagram because it's like I remember when I was in Korea, I would like had a mailing list of all my friends' emails and I would send them like newsletter type of things every now and again.
hmm
And um then, but I'm sure fucking fucking 15% of those people actually read those emails, but I don't, whatever. But like there is a desire to like share stuff with people in your life, but like sharing it to everybody in your life is individually is hard work. So like the
It is.
idea of like sharing like photos and things like that via Instagram is nice on the surface, but it's just all the other shit that kind of goes into it.
Yeah. Like, why did only 5 people look at this? Because it shows you
Exactly.
those things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You get all the data.
It's like,
Um,
yeah.
do you think all people need time alone?
I I don't that's a good question. I think so, probably. I think everybody at least needs a little bit. I think some people like fucking need to have people with them the vast majority of the time, but I think everybody needs a wee bit of time alone.
I talked to somebody a couple weeks ago and they were like, I'm out there all the time. I
Yeah,
really don't need a look. And I was like, in my brain, I'm like, you freak.
yeah. I my immediate thought,
Like,
if
good for you.
sure,
But also, like, that's terrifying for me.
yeah.
That sounds
But
like hell.
I hear that and I'm also kind of like, well, what are you avoiding? And but maybe
Yeah,
that is
quite a
me,
bit.
that is me.
They're lovely human, but yes,
Yes. But
there's
like
some things that need to be dealt with.
because that's I'm the same. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why like yeah, if I'm out and about and doing those things and like it's it is what I'm avoiding as well. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I'm always so busy, and it is as a very much a way to avoid my internal landscape a lot of the time. So I
Yeah,
can absolutely relate.
yeah. So, um, how do you avoid being lonely?
I think it goes back to the thing I was saying earlier. I try to stay busy. I try to like
Yeah,
see people. I try to
yeah.
make an effort to like at least have conversations with people. Like my friend, I really appreciate it. He like I hadn't spoken to him in ages, and he called me at the weekend, and I was like, I saw his, I saw that I missed
You're
a
like,
call from him, and I was like, this motherfucker, I don't want to talk to somebody today. And then he was like, what are you doing? Come on, talk. Just give me a call. I've got some free time. I'm like, all right. And I'm so glad that I did because I needed it. I just needed to chat with my bud, and like he was able to frame some stuff like in ways like I was just in such a downer of a mood, and I was talking, and he was asking me, and he was like talking about his dating experiences in recent time. He was telling me about this story. It was a fun story about this sort of mini fling he had, and we were just talking about dating websites and stuff. And he was asking me, and he's like, "What's going on with you?" And I'm like, "Um, I'm thinking about it again, but like I am in the mindset of that I wanted to get right with myself before I did anything like that." And he goes, "Well, could this not be a component of that?" And I'm like, that's an
mm,
interesting way of looking at it because like there is part of me it feels like I'm using it as an excuse not to, and I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's a great way of looking at it.
it's
um
kind of like people are always like, oh, there's never a time to have a baby.
yeah,
There's never the right time.
yeah,
It's just like you got to kind of just throw yourself into
you
it
do, you do.
and that's I think that's really good advice.
I think so too, and I really appreciated that, I must say. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question your
Yeah,
question, but
you
yeah.
did. You did. I think like what do I wrote down? What do I do? Well, yeah,
Mhm.
I keep earbuds in my ears all the time. I've talked
Yeah,
about
we've
that.
talked about that.
I'm
I'm the same.
shows. I stay busy. If I feel like there might be, if I have 2 hours during the day and I'm like, I don't have anything to fill this, I'm going to sleep. I nap. I do. Like
Oh,
it's becoming like a habit. Um,
I'm kind of envious of that. I wish I could
I
nap.
know, I know. Well, I take drugs to do it,
Hell
but
yeah.
I know. Woohoo. Okay, so here's a question.
Uh-huh.
If you had less loneliness,
Hmm.
what would take its place?
um I would like, ideally, I would like um creative pursuits to take its place. I don't know how easy those things would be to switch out, but that's where I would like to, because I feel like, I mean, like, it's not like I have a ton of free time anyway, but like I
Mhm.
feel like the free time that I do have, I spend it with things that like distract me rather than fulfill me necessarily. I don't know. I think those things are still important. I do think it's important to do those things for everyone, but some more fulfilling stuff would be nice, I think. What
Mhm.
about you?
Um, I would like more energy and like drive to do more things. Like
Yeah,
I'm really in a like energy lull right now. I'm just tapped out, but that's because, caretaking is hard.
yeah,
And so I would like more energy to yeah, do the things, do the creative things. Um, I'd like healing to take the place of loneliness.
sure.
It's pretty basic, but like I think for me, like when I'm aware of it, then I'm like, okay, you're aware of it. There
Yeah.
it is. Now what do we do about it? And like that's probably like the healthy part of the process is the awareness.
Hmm.
It's so annoying. But like for you, I'm wondering if the next time you're like, oh, I feel lonely, if you like work on your comic book.
Yeah, this would be good. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
here, okay, I'm feeling this way. Oh, I feel bad. Do something
yeah. That's what I
with
would
that.
like to pour my energy into. I mean, I do think that like I have, you know, this podcast, obviously, the choir, I have poured sort of creative parts of myself into that, and I am happy that some of those things are taking flight, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I definitely there's I think there is more that I would like to do, and I think yeah, that would be good. That would be ideal, you know. I was gonna say, with the way you're feeling, good news is you've got
I know.
my depressed ass to deal with in a couple of weeks, in a couple of not even a week.
I'm
Um,
excited.
but once if I'm when I'm there with you guys, I will not be depressed. It'll be great fun.
So much Nintendo Switch.
Hell fucking
So much
yes. Oh
sunshine. So
yeah.
much. It's gonna be somewhere between like the 80s and
We
90s
we
Fahrenheit.
unbelievably, after it being cold as fuck at the end of August, have had quite a nice few weeks here. It was beautiful today, so who knows with this country. So
Yeah,
keeps you
it's
on your
true.
toes, which is great for loneliness.
You changed your shirt.
I did change my shirt. Yeah, well, that's what I like. Beth got a real gun show in the last episode.
Yeah.
Um,
I was like, I don't think I've ever seen your arms before.
yeah, I know, because I had done yoga earlier today and had like a sleeveless top that I kind of wear for yoga and stuff like that. So
You call
yeah,
it a tank top?
yeah,
I don't know why. Okay, so fuck boys of history, huh?
yeah. Fuck was history then, folks. In conclusion,
In
loneliness,
conclusion,
loneliness. The answer is fuckboys of history, the podcast. Finn, the end. So
that's a
that's
really good idea for a
isn't
podcast.
it?
It's so good.
I like it. I like
Oh my
it.
God, we're giving these ideas away
Like
for
I
free.
know we should really copyright this or something like that. If anybody does it, like fucking kill your ass. I mean, I'm not actually gonna kill your ass.
No, he'll hug you.
Yeah, I probably will. I'll be like, congratulations on doing it, you bastard. Um, but yeah, I think, I mean, like, we've come to the end of this topic, I think. Is there anything else you want to say on it, or wait till we move on?
It's just like it's an ever present thing.
It is.
And I think, you know, I'm really bad about being on social media too much, I think,
Yeah,
and I'd like to reduce that and see if that helps my loneliness.
that's smart.
And I apologize to everyone that again, I've just been in a slump and I have not responded to texts and I'm getting some concerned people that are like,
Yeah.
haven't heard from you. So I'm fine. And I will respond
Yeah.
to everyone. So
It's just right. Just right. Just right. Respond when you can. Okay. Should we move on to our favorite bit in the whole
Mm,
world?
mm.
Everybody's favorite, after a loneliness conversation.
I know, right?
What's been bringing you
It's
joy
like
this week? My
sorry.
lonely,
My lonely heart.
my lonely heart. Yeah.
I think so. I took Harper out to dinner for her
Hmm.
birthday, and we were like literally like right across the street from the stadium, um, which is where the San Diego Padres play.
Uh-huh.
And it's like I parent more than I hang right now.
Mm,
So it's like, get this done, do this, make sure you're fed. Have you been bathed? Like, la la la. But like just sitting and sharing a meal. Um, I don't even know what the conversation was, but she started laughing so hard she like was like sobbing, crying, and then I
amazing.
started too. So we were just like sitting, but we were like sitting on the street.
Hmm.
So all these people are walking by, we're like cry laughing, and you could see their response to us cry laughing, and like just like so happy to
It's
see like
intoxicating. Yeah.
totally so it was that moment of joy. And
Amazing.
I was like, I don't think I've ever seen her cry laugh before. So I think it might have been her first cry laugh
So
ever.
good.
I know, and I was there for it, and it gave
Oh,
me so much joy. So
love it. That sounds awesome.
yeah. What about you?
Um, yeah, I think and it was why I had the start of the episode was lovely seeing the choir back together. It's like such a I know a lot of these people now. We have people who love the choir, like really friggin' love it, and are keen to let me know, and like tease me about stuff, and like they're trying to get me to sing and things like that. So it was just kind of nice to be in that atmosphere again. Like it is stressful, but like it is lovely to see that all back together, and you know occasionally let myself, as I've mentioned before, take some pride in the fact that it was like,
Yeah.
a lot of the reason why it's happening is because of me.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. Pat
So yeah,
yourself on the back, my
thank you.
friend.
I'm doing it. Literally,
Yeah.
literally doing it right now.
Literally doing it. So am I, just because I like to do
Well,
it.
Beth, that's stolen valor. It's not. Wow, unbelievable. Right. Good stuff. So yeah, that was awesome. So do you want to tell the folks where they can find us?
You can find us at bendypodcast.com. Feel free
Mhm.
to leave a review. We've gotten some reviews in. I need to post them to the website. So
Okay.
thanks, folks, for sending those in
Mm-hmm.
and for listening. We really appreciate it.
We sure do. Okay, folks, in that case, we'd like to, as always, remind you to stay
Stay bendy.
bendy. Outstanding.
That was a good
Yeah.
Good home. Yeah. Love you
Yeah. Love
guys.
you. Bye. Bye.